Don't call. Don't come by. We're finished. That message from my father hit my phone at exactly 9:00 p.m. on a random Tuesday night. I just stared at the glowing screen sitting in my tiny Portland apartment, still in my scrubs from the dental office where I ran the front desk all day. The words sat there like ice blunt sharp final. I typed one reply. Noted. Then I placed my phone on the counter and walked toward the window. My hands trembled, but it wasn't grief. No tears, no heartbreak. It felt almost like release. Like a weight I didn't even know I'd been dragging finally broke loose. I'm Zoe. I'm 27, and I had just been officially cut out of my family. Why? Because my younger sister Paige, Princess of Manipulation, fed them a lie. She told them I was jealous of her engagement, trash-talking her precious fiancé Brandon, trying to ruin her perfect life. None of it was real. But truth never mattered in our house. Paige was always the chosen one, adored, defended, untouchable. And me? My role was simple. Support her, stay silent, disappear in the background. What none of them knew, not even Paige, was that for the last 3 years I was the one keeping their roof over their heads. Every month, $1,500 quietly leaving my account to cover their mortgage. They believed Paige was helping them. She let them believe it. Smiled, soaked in their praise, played hero, while I bankrolled the entire show from the shadows. I kept quiet for one reason, peace. I didn't want to hear my mother defend her angel. Didn't want my father twisting my generosity into some fault of mine. Silence was easier. Or at least I told myself that. But after that text, everything shifted. They cut me off. So I picked up my phone again and opened my banking app. The automatic transfer 2 days away. One simple button controlled 3 years of sacrifice. I hovered for a second, then canceled it. Gone. Just like that, the cord snapped. And suddenly I felt calm. I wasn't furious. I wasn't broken. I was simply done. The next morning, sunlight woke me, not alarms, not dread. But I noticed my phone buzzing nonstop. 17 missed calls. 42 messages. I'd slept through all of it, completely unaware of the storm I'd just unleashed. Sitting up in bed, I scrolled through them with a slow, stunned smile. The notifications kept flooding in my mom, my dad, Paige, even Brandon, every one of them spiraling. Zoe, call us ASAP. This is urgent. Why are you ignoring us? Fix this, now. I tapped open my mom's thread first. Her panic started at dawn. Zoe, the bank called. Mortgage payment failed. Paige is checking her account. She's confused. Call me. An hour later, Paige says she never set up any payments. What is happening? Did you do something? Then 8 a.m., answer your phone. Your father is furious. We need to resolve this. I scrolled through the chaos. My dad's texts? Sharp, angry, all-caps Pages? Defensive, dramatic, playing innocent Brandon's attempts? Polite, awkward, Mr. Let's stay calm. I set the phone down and started my morning. Slowly, peacefully. Coffee brewing, warm shower, fresh clothes, makeup done like I had not a single worry in the world. I wasn't rushing for them. Not anymore. By the time I finally hit call, it was nearly 10. My mom answered instantly, practically gasping. Zoe, where were you? We've been calling all morning. I was asleep, I said, voice steady. What's happening? What's happening? She shrieked. The mortgage didn't go through. The bank called. Paige checked she doesn't have any payments set up. We have no idea what happened, do you? I sipped my coffee like I had all the time in the world. That's odd, I murmured. Odd. This is a crisis. We can't afford this mortgage alone. Paige has been supporting us for 3 years. If she didn't set it up, who did? Silence, thick and heavy. I could hear my dad yelling in the background, Paige panicking. I don't know, Mom, I finally said. Maybe ask Paige again. We did. She swears she has no idea. Zoe, do you know anything? Another calm sip. Why would I? You told me not to contact you. You made it pretty clear we were finished, remember? A shaky breath. That was your father. He was upset. Paige said you were spreading things about Brandon. We had to protect her. Right, I said softly. Well, good luck with the mortgage, and I hung up before the guilt, the excuses, the begging could start. The phone started ringing again immediately. And again, and again. I just stared at it, peaceful. Let them panic. I let most of their calls ring out, but I read every single text. Watching their panic unravel in real time was strangely satisfying. Paige was spiraling the fastest. Her messages bounced between shock and accusation. Zoe, Mom said you might know something about the mortgage. Do you? Answer me. This is serious. If you messed with something, fix it. Mom and Dad are losing it. I didn't reply. Not yet. I wanted them to stew in uncertainty. By afternoon, my dad's name flashed on the screen. I nearly ignored it, but curiosity won. Zoe. His tone was tight-strained, holding rage behind clenched teeth. We need to talk. About? I asked, bored. The mortgage, he snapped. Your mother said you acted indifferent. That's not acceptable. This is a family emergency, is it? I asked. Because last night you said we were done. You told me not to contact you. So you'll have to forgive me for being confused. His patience cracked. Don't be ridiculous. Your mother and I could lose our home. And you're throwing a fit over something Paige said? I'm not throwing anything, I replied calmly. I'm just doing what you asked. You cut me off. I respected it. Stop playing games, he growled. Do you know anything about the payment or not? I paused, feeling the moment. I could tell him everything. Drop the truth on him like a bomb. But no, that would be too fast. Too merciful. No, I said coolly. I don't know anything. He let out a harsh breath. You've always stuck your nose where it didn't belong. Meddling in things that aren't your business? I almost laughed. Right. Well, I'm sure Paige will solve it. She's the devoted daughter, remember? A beat of silence. Doubt creeping in? Yes, he said, but the confidence was gone. Then you'll be fine, I said lightly. Good luck, Dad. And I hung up. That evening, I curled up on my couch with a glass of wine, letting the quiet settle around me. My mind drifted back over the last 3 years. The first transfer. My mom sobbing because they were about to lose the house. My dad newly retired mom's hours cut desperation in her voice, and me unable to watch them fall apart, so I stepped in. Quietly, silently, $1,500 every month. Never a thank you. Never credit, just duty. Because I thought it was the right thing to do. Family helps family, right? Then Paige flew back from California for a visit 2 years away, working some vague marketing job she never explained. She spent the weekend basking in their praise, and by the time she left, my parents were practically singing hymns about her. Paige has been sending us money every month, my mother cooed into the phone. Can you believe it? She's been so generous, $1,500 a month. She set up an automatic payment and didn't even tell us until the first deposit hit. She's so humble, Zoe. I remember sitting there frozen. Inside, I wanted to shout the truth, to rip the curtain down and show them the puppeteer, but I stayed quiet. I told myself it didn't matter because the help was reaching them. That was the lie I fed myself. Because every casual comparison, why can't you be more like Paige? And every social post where Paige flaunted her blessings burned like salt on an old wound. She was a con, a thief of credit, and I had let it slide for the sake of peace. Sitting on my couch now, the weight of those swallowed words hit me. How many times had I swallowed pride so their lives wouldn't shake? How many small deaths of self had I accepted to keep them content? My phone buzzed. Paige again. Zoe, I know you're upset, but now's not the time. Mom and Dad need help. Can you just call them back? I typed slowly. Why don't you call them? You've been helping for 3 years, right? The little typing dots bloomed, faded, then came back. What are you talking about? She asked. The mortgage payments. I've been sending $1,500 a month. You're the one, right? The dots flickered like a heartbeat. Finally, yes, obviously. Why would you ask that? A smile slid across my face. She doubled down. Even now, with her house of lies about to splinter, she chose the same old mask. Good. Let her keep the act. Let her scramble. Let my parents finally see what and who had been propping them up. I set the phone down, leaned back, and felt something unfamiliar and electric. A calm hunger for what would come next. The next morning, I clocked into work like nothing had happened, checked patients and answered calls, filed claims, while the storm I'd started brewed quietly at home. At work, my coworkers asked how I was doing, and I smiled, saying I felt great, and for once I truly did. Freedom feels strange at first, almost suspiciously light. During lunch, I sat in my car and checked my phone. 23 unread messages. Mostly from my mom, some from Paige, even one from Brandon. I opened his first. Hey, Zoe, I think there's been a misunderstanding. Paige is really stressed. If you two could talk, I'm sure things will clear up. Coffee sometime, poor guy? He had no idea who he was marrying. In his eyes, Paige was the loving daughter, and I was the bitter, jealous sister. He wasn't malicious, just naive and hopelessly in love with the wrong person. I couldn't even be angry at him. I deleted his message and moved on. My mom's messages read like a prayer turning into a scream. Zoe, please. If you know anything, tell us. The bank mentioned foreclosure. Your father is losing it. Please, we're begging you, foreclosure. That was a new development. Something in my chest tightened, but I didn't let it breathe. They had chosen their golden child. They believed lies over loyalty. Actions have consequences. Then I opened Paige's thread, 5 messages each, dripping panic. Zoe, whatever point you think you're making, stop. They could lose the house because of you. You're selfish. Answer me, fine. You'll regret this. I'm driving to Portland. We need to talk. My back straightened. Paige coming here? That was unexpected. She hated this city, complained about the rain, mocked the coffee shops, whined about missing California sunshine. If she was willing to step foot here again, she was truly terrified. Good. I typed one word. When? Her reply came instantly. Tomorrow. I'm leaving tonight. Mom and Dad need us, like we had ever been a team. Like she hadn't spent 3 years soaking in praise that belonged to me. Okay, I replied. Come by at 6, I sent her my address. Slid my phone away and finished lunch like my world wasn't, preparing to detonate hers. That evening I cleaned my apartment, calm, methodical, as if welcoming. A guest, not a storm. I wasn't even sure why I cleaned. Maybe I wanted her to walk into my space and realize I was okay without them, that my life, small and quiet as it was, belonged to me. Or maybe I just wanted one thing for once, to be under my control. All day my brain rehearsed the conversation. A calm surgical takedown. A screaming match years overdue. A quiet reveal like a knife slipping between ribs. Every version felt possible. None felt right. What did I want? An apology? Recognition? Or just the pleasure of watching her crumble under the weight of her own lies? I couldn't tell. But I knew one thing. I wasn't giving her an easy escape. The next day crawled by. I checked the clock more times than I cared to admit. My coworkers noticed my distraction, but they didn't pry, thank God. When I got home, I changed into jeans and a sweater, casual, effortless. I didn't want to look like I'd prepared for her. I poured myself a glass of water and sat down steady. At 6:03 p.m., the knock came. I waited a beat, then another, before getting up. I opened the door slowly. Paige stood there, and she looked wrecked. Hair in a half-fallen bun sweatshirt, wrinkled eyes red and puffy. She looked like someone whose world was wobbling for the first time. Hey, she whispered. Hey, can I come in? I stepped aside. She sank onto the couch without waiting to be asked. I stayed where I was, arms crossed, leaning against the wall like she was a stranger, because at this point she was. So, I said, what did you want to talk about? She looked up, voice trembling. I don't understand what's happening. Mom and Dad are losing it. They think you know something about the mortgage payments. Do you? Why would I? I asked, tone flat. She hesitated, then reached for something sharp. Because you've always been weird about money. You never spend. You save everything. So maybe you set something up and forgot about it? A laugh nearly escaped. Weird about money. Not responsible. Not supportive. Not the one who quietly funded their lives, just weird. I didn't forget anything, I said. Then what happened? Her voice cracked, anger edging in. The payments just stopped. The bank has no record of who sent them. Mom and Dad could lose the house. Don't you care? I held her gaze. She looked so certain, so convinced of her own story, her own innocence. She actually believed the lie she built. She didn't speak. She didn't even blink. It was like watching a glass statue crack from the inside. For the first time in her life, Paige had no script, no excuses, no innocent victim act to hide behind. Just the truth, ugly and undeniable, staring her in the face. She croaked. I didn't know. You did, I said quietly. You just didn't care. Her lips trembled. I thought the bank messed up. Mom and Dad. They thanked me. They believed me. Because you let them, I replied. You let them worship you for something you never did. And when the payments stopped, suddenly the truth doesn't matter? Suddenly I'm the villain because your lie finally fell apart? Tears filled her eyes, but I felt nothing. Not anger, not satisfaction, just nothing. Silence sat between us, heavy and suffocating. You could have said something, she whispered again, desperate. You could have saved them. Oh, don't worry, I said, my voice cold. They're not losing the house. I already called the bank this morning. The overdue amount is covered. Their home is safe, her head snapped up. Then why? Because they needed to see what happens when you build your life on lies. I cut in. When you throw away the only person who ever had your back. She stared at me like I was a stranger, and maybe I was. Maybe. I stopped being her sister the moment she decided someone else's generosity belonged to her ego. So, what now? She whispered. Now? I shrugged. You go home and tell them the truth. She shook her head violently. No. Zoe, please. You asked me to fix this, I said, stepping back. I did. But I'm done being your shadow and your wallet and your safety net. You wanted to be the hero? I opened the door and pointed outside. Go be one. Her face crumbled. For a second, I saw the scared little girl she used to be before she learned manipulation gets applause. Zoe. I'm sorry. Maybe she meant it, maybe she didn't, but it didn't matter anymore. I'm not doing this for your apology, I said. I'm doing it for my peace. She stood, wiped her face with shaky hands, and walked to the door. Right before she stepped out, she paused. Will they ever forgive me? She asked. I looked her straight in the eye. That's between you and them. I shut the door gently, not slammed. Not dramatic, just final, and for the first time in years, the silence in my apartment didn't feel lonely. It felt clean. Like I had finally swept out a ghost. The phone buzzed a minute later, my mom again. I didn't answer. Not yet. Not today. For once in my life, I didn't rush to save anyone. I just sat down, breathed, and let the peace settle in. Revenge isn't always loud. Sometimes it's simply walking away and watching the truth do the work. This doesn't prove anything, she whispered, voice thin and shaking. You could have faked this. All of it. 3 years of bank statements. I let out a cold laugh. Come on, Paige, even you don't believe that. She stepped back from the laptop like it was burning her. Why are you doing this? Why are you trying to ruin everything? I'm not ruining anything, I said softly. You did that. You lied. You took credit for something you never did. And when the truth finally showed up, you panicked. They're going to lose the house because of you. She snapped. You stopped the payments. You're hurting them. I stopped because Dad told me to. My voice was calm, almost too calm. He told me I wasn't family anymore. He told me not to call, not to visit. He cut me off. So I respected his wishes. She laughed, harsh, bitter. So you punished them because your feelings got hurt? That's childish, Zoe. No, I said, meeting her eyes. I protected myself. I spent 3 years quietly doing the right thing. And you spent 3 years taking bows for my sacrifice. Her arms crossed tight across her chest. So what do you want? An apology? Fine, I'm sorry. Happy now? I shook my head. I don't want your apology. Her face fell for a second. She looked terrified. I want you to tell Mom and Dad the truth. She froze. What? Tell them you lied. Tell them I paid the mortgage, not you. Tell them you took credit and let me get pushed out of the family for it. Her voice cracked. I can't do that. And why not? I asked. She looked away, tears forming again. Because they'll hate me. A tiny part of me almost felt a twinge of sympathy. Almost. They should hate you, I said quietly. You lied to them. You used me. And now you want me to carry the blame so you can keep playing the hero. She sank into the couch, breaking. I didn't mean for it to get this far, she whispered. When they first thanked me, I thought you told them to, and then I didn't know how to correct it. It just spiraled. I didn't think it mattered. That, I said, is the most delusional thing I've ever heard. Well, what now? She snapped, suddenly, desperation turning bitter. You already stopped the payments. They're losing the house. How does telling them help anything? It doesn't fix it, I replied. But it stops you from pretending this was my fault. Silence. Heavy. Final. She stared at me like her entire world was slipping out from under her, because it was. You built your life on a lie, I said quietly. And now it's time to pay for it. She dragged her sleeve across her face, smearing mascara like war paint. If I tell them, they'll never forgive me. That's not my problem. It is your problem, she exploded. We're family, Zoe. You can't just abandon us. You all abandoned me first, I said calmly. You, Mom, Dad, you decided I was jealous, dramatic, trying to ruin your happy little life. You never even asked for my side. You just erased me. So spare me the family speech. Her face crumpled like paper. I never wanted this. You did when you lied. She grabbed her purse like it was a lifeline. I need to go. Are you going to tell them? I asked. She didn't answer, just walked toward the door, shoulders shaking. Paige, I called. She froze, hand on the doorknob. If you don't tell them, I will. She turned, eyes swollen, voice barely a whisper. You really hate me, don't you? I don't hate you, I said. I just don't trust you anymore. She left. The door clicked shut and the silence felt heavier than any shouting match. I sat back down, staring at the door like it might open again. No shaking hands. No racing heartbeat, just exhaustion. I'd expected anger, relief, maybe victory. Instead, I just felt hollow. My phone buzzed, 3 messages from Mom. Paige is coming to see you, please talk to her. We're trying to stay calm. The bank gave us until the end of the month. Call me after you two work this out. I set the phone down. Let them. Wait, let them panic. I wasn't the emergency hotline anymore. The next 2 days? Silence, no texts. No calls, everyone just holding their breath. Friday afternoon, Mom finally called. I was at work answering phones, pretending life was normal. I let it ring 3 times before I picked up. Hi, Mom. Zoe. Her voice sounded like she'd aged 10 years. We need to talk. About what? The mortgage? Paige? Everything? A pause. Can you come home this weekend? I thought Dad banned me from the house. He didn't mean it, she rushed. He was upset. We both were. But we need to sit down as a family. I leaned back, watching a patient fill out paperwork. Did Paige tell you? Tell me what? So she hadn't. She went home, looked them in the eye, and still chose silence. Still gambling she could slither out clean. Nothing, I said. What time? Noon. I'll make lunch. Okay. Thank you, Zoe. Her voice trembled like she was holding on to hope by a thread. I know things have been hard lately, but we're still family. We can fix this. I didn't answer the family part. I just said I'd be there tomorrow and hung up. That night, sleep refused to come. My thoughts kept circling like vultures, what to say, how hard to hit, whether to bring proof or just let them choke on the truth. Should I walk in and expose everything? Or walk away and let them drown in the lie they chose to believe? By the time I pulled into the driveway, I still didn't know. The house looked the same, quiet, modest, flowers lining the walkway like always. Nothing had changed on the outside, but everything had changed inside me. I sat in my car, breathed, collected myself. Then I walked up the steps. Mom opened the door before I even knocked. Her face was worn, eyes, swollen hair pulled back like she hadn't cared enough to fix it. Zoe, she whispered, hugging me tight. I'm so glad you came. I hugged her, stiff, distant. Where's Dad? In the living room. With Paige. Of course she was, already. Here, already rehearsing, already spinning. I followed my mom. Inside. The living room looked frozen in time-mismatched furniture. Too many family pictures, the same throw blankets. From 5 years ago, my dad sat in his recliner like a judge ready to deliver a sentence. Paige was on the couch, pale, fidgeting. Eyes darting like a cornered animal. Zoe, my dad said. He didn't bother to stand. Sit. I took the chair across from him, hands folded, calm. Your mother said you and Paige talked, he started. Did you two work things out? I looked at Paige. She couldn't even look up. Not exactly, I said. Well, we're going to fix it right now, he declared. This mortgage issue is out of control. The bank is threatening foreclosure. We need to know who was paying it and why the payments stopped. They stopped because I stopped them, I said. The room froze. Air. Gone. My dad's brows pulled together. What are you talking about? The mortgage payments. My voice didn't shake. I'm the one who's been paying them. For 3 years. And I stopped when you told me we were done. My mom's face drained of color. Zoe, what are you saying? I've been paying your mortgage, I repeated steady. $1,500 a month. For 3 years. Not Paige. Me. My dad turned to Paige slowly, coldly. Is this true? Paige didn't speak. She didn't look up. She just sat there, a statue of guilt and fear, every lie she'd ever told finally catching up. She didn't move. Didn't blink. Paige just sat there like her soul had left her body. Paige, My mom choked out, voice trembling. Answer your father. I didn't know, Paige stuttered. I thought you both said I was the one helping. I didn't realize what? My dad snapped, his anger vibrating through the room. That, you weren't actually sending the money, Paige whispered. I thought maybe Zoe was paying for me or something. I didn't know it was just her. I quietly unlocked my phone and opened my banking app. Here, I said, handing it to my dad. 3 years of transfers, dates, amounts, every single payment. His hands shook as he scrolled. With every swipe, his face got darker. Heavier, ashamed. $54,000, he finally whispered. You sent us $54,000. Yes, I said. He turned to Paige. And you knew? No, Paige cried. I swear I didn't. But you accepted the praise, Mom sobbed. You let us thank you. You let us believe you were saving us. I didn't mean to, Paige burst out. It started as confusion and then it felt too late to fix it. Too late? Dad exploded. You deceived us for 3 years. I didn't lie, Paige screamed back. I just didn't correct that is lying, he thundered. Mom collapsed onto the couch, face buried in her palms. I can't believe this. I can't believe you, Paige. What about her? Paige pointed at me desperately. She stopped the payments. She's the reason you're losing the house. Because you told me I wasn't family anymore, I said quietly. You told me not to call, not to visit. You cut me off. So I stopped paying. Dad stared at me, struggling for words, guilt flooding his face. You cast me out, I continued. You believed her lies without even asking me. And now you're furious that I'm not saving you again? Mom sobbed harder. We didn't know. We didn't know it was you. You should have asked, I whispered. You should have trusted me. But you didn't. Because it was easier believing she was perfect and I was the villain. Silence. Ripped through the room like a blade. Dad frozen, clutching my phone. Mom. Shaking, eyes red, Paige shrinking. Into herself like she wished the floor would swallow her. I don't understand, Dad finally said. Why didn't you tell us? Why stay silent? Because I wasn't doing it for applause, I said. I helped because you needed help, not because I needed credit. But you let Paige take the credit, my mom whispered, wiping her tears. Why would you ever do that? I didn't let her, I said sharply. She claimed the praise herself. And by the time I realized it, you were already worshiping her. I wasn't going to shatter your perfect illusion. So you just stayed silent? Dad asked, disbelief in his voice. What exactly did you expect me to say? I fired back. That Paige was lying? That your precious golden daughter was a fraud? You never would have believed me. That's not fair, my mom murmured. Oh, it's completely fair. I stared right at her. When she told you I was jealous of her engagement, you didn't ask. You didn't listen. You just cut me off without hesitation. Dad slowly set my phone on the table. This is a disaster. Yeah, I said quietly. It is. He turned to Paige. You have a lot to explain. I already did, Paige whispered, shrinking. I messed up. I should have spoken up earlier. I'm sorry. Sorry? Dad snapped. Sorry doesn't fix 3 years of deception. You accepted gratitude for something you never did, and now we're losing our home because your sister stopped paying for it. Don't put this on me, Paige shot back. Zoe chose to stop helping. She could have continued. Why would I? I said, voice calm and icy. You all made it very clear I wasn't family anymore. We didn't mean it like that, my mom said weakly. Yes, you did, I replied. You meant every word. And now that you need me again, you want to pretend none of it happened. Zoe, please, my mom begged. We were wrong. We're sorry. But we need your help. We can't lose this house. I looked at her, at all the desperation, panic, regret, and felt nothing. No pity, no guilt. Just a still, cold calm. You should have thought about that before you cut me out, I said. We didn't disown you, Dad insisted. You told me not to call, not to visit, that we were finished. What would you call that? He had no answer. I stood. I came because you asked. I told you the truth because you deserve to hear it. But I'm done financing a family that threw me away. Zoe, don't go, Mom cried, stepping forward. We can fix this. There's nothing left to fix, I said. You made your choice. Now live with it. What about us? Dad asked desperately. What are we supposed to do? I don't know, I said coldly. Maybe Paige can help. She's been so generous these last 3 years, right? Paige's eyes burned into me. You're really going to do this? Let them lose everything. Just to make a point? I'm not making a point, I said. I'm protecting myself, something I should have done years ago. I walked toward the door. My mom grabbed my arm. Zoe, please, she cried. We hurt you, I know we did. I know we messed up. But we're still your family. Her voice trembled, clinging to whatever hope she had left. I slowly pulled my arm free. Family doesn't tear someone down the way you tore me down. We'll fix this. She pleaded, desperation cracking every word. We'll apologize publicly. We'll tell everyone Paige lied. Just please don't leave us. Don't give up on us. You gave up on me first, I said quietly, and then I walked. Out the door, down the steps, into my car. She stood there on the porch sobbing as I pulled away, but I didn't turn around. Not once. My phone buzzed nonstop as I drove, vibrating like it was possessed. I didn't read anything. I already knew the script, begging, guilt trips. Promises they'd never honor. I wasn't their savior anymore. That job was done. At home, I poured myself a glass of wine, sank into my couch, and exhaled, or ciao. The first time in years I felt weightless, untethered, free. Another buzz. This time, Brandon, hey Zoe, Paige told me everything. I didn't know any of it. I'm sorry you got dragged into this. If you want to talk, I'm here. I stared at the message. Poor guy. He had no clue what kind of chaos he was walking into. I typed back, thanks. Good luck with everything. Then I blocked him. Blocked my parents, I blocked Paige, severed every connection, and I felt nothing but relief. Days passed. No guilt, no second guessing, just peace. Then an email from my dad. I almost deleted it, but curiosity won. Zoe, the bank gave us 3 months. We're taking out a loan. We don't expect you to help anymore. We understand why you're angry. We don't blame you. We failed you. We believed lies without ever giving you a chance to speak. We were wrong. I don't know if we deserve forgiveness. But I hope someday you'll find it. Love, Dad. I read it 3 times, then I closed it. And deleted it. Maybe one day forgiveness would come, but today wasn't that day. Today I chose me, and that was enough. I thought of Paige, now exposed, stripped of her halo. My parents finally knew who she really was, and I wondered if they'd ever look at their perfect daughter the same way again. I raised an eyebrow. She talked about me? Yeah, he said, leaning back. She always made it sound like she was the one holding the family together. But anytime your name came up, she got tense, defensive, like she knew she'd done something wrong but didn't want to face it. I didn't respond. There was nothing to say. Brandon took a sip of his coffee, studying me for a moment. You seem different, he added. Calmer, lighter. I guess I am. He nodded thoughtfully. Good. I'm glad things worked out for you. We talked a little longer about work, about Seattle, about nothing important. It wasn't emotional or dramatic. Just 2 people who once lived in the blast radius of the same disaster, acknowledging each other's survival. Eventually, I stood. It was good seeing you, Brandon. You too, Zoe. He hesitated. If you ever need a friend here, I'm around. I smiled, not out of obligation, but because I meant it. Thanks, you too. We parted ways. He walked out the door and into the rain. I sat for a while watching the droplets gather on the window, feeling something loosening inside me, something deep and old and tired. It wasn't forgiveness, not exactly, it was acceptance. That night I went home to Luna, curled on the couch, and the soft hum of my new life around me. I fed her, made tea, turned on a quiet playlist. Everything was still, peaceful. I thought about my parents, about Paige, about Oregon, and all the versions of myself I had been there. I didn't hate them. I didn't miss them either. I simply let them go. I was no longer a girl begging to be chosen. No longer the silent sibling in the background. No longer the emotional mule of a family that couldn't carry their own weight. I had chosen myself, and the world didn't collapse. It opened. Months later, I would find myself at a park on a spring afternoon, sunlight warming my skin, laughter echoing nearby. Someone would sit beside me, a man I barely knew, yet somehow felt familiar with, and we would talk about life and childhood and second chances, but that day hadn't come yet. This day ended with a mug of tea, a cat purring on my lap, and a heart that finally felt like it belonged somewhere, with me. She wiped her face with the back of her hand. We didn't appreciate you the way we should have. And that's on us. I leaned back on the bench, arms crossed. What do you want from me? Another chance? Forgiveness. A reset button? She shook her head. No, I came because I don't want you to leave without hearing me say I'm sorry. I froze. Seattle. The new apartment. The new life, she knew. How do you, Paige told us, she whispered. She said you were planning to move. That you were really leaving us behind this time? Well, I said. Paige got something right for once. A shaky breath escaped her. You're angry. And hurt, but leaving, it feels so final. That's kind of the point. She looked up at me then. Really looked, not the daughter she imagined, not the one she preferred. Just me, the one she lost long before she realized she could. Lose me, I don't expect you to forgive us. Today, she said softly. Or ever. But I hope one day you'll remember that we're human. We failed you and we'll spend the rest of our lives regretting it. For a second, just a second, the old ache twisted in my chest. The little kid in me who used to crave her approval stirred, but I didn't let her. Speak. Regret isn't my responsibility, I said gently, and your guilt isn't my burden anymore. She nodded, tears dripping onto her lap. I know. I just didn't want you to leave thinking we never loved you. I stood. Whether you loved me or not doesn't change how you treated me. She stood too, but didn't reach for me this time. Can we call you sometimes, just to check in? No expectations? No, I said, calm and sure. Not right now. She swallowed hard, but didn't argue. Okay, then. Goodbye, Zoe. Goodbye. Mom. I turned and walked back inside without looking back. No shaking hands, no second thoughts, just clarity, quiet, powerful clarity. By the time I sat back at my desk, I wasn't trembling, wasn't angry, I wasn't sad, I was free. Seattle wasn't just an idea anymore. It was my future, my clean slate, my life finally mine. And as I looked out the window and saw the sky opening into a pale blue afternoon, I felt it again, that rare, precious sensation I once thought I'd never feel around my family. Peace, not revenge, not victory, just peace, and God, it felt good. No, I said quietly. You didn't. My mom's voice trembled. Then tell me, what can we do? How do we fix this? What do you need from us? I don't need anything, I replied, steady and calm. That's what none of you ever understood. I never needed your approval. I never needed your praise. I never needed your love. I learned how to survive without it. But we're your family, she whispered. You stopped being my family the moment you erased me, I said. I'm just honoring the decision you made first. She reached for my hand and I pulled away. Zoe, please, your father can barely function. And Paige, she swallowed hard. Paige is falling apart. She and Brandon called off the engagement. A flicker of emotion hit me, brief then gone. I'm not shocked. She told him the truth about the mortgage. He said he couldn't marry someone who lies. I nodded. Once? Good. Maybe she'll finally learn what accountability looks like. My mom stared at me like she didn't recognize me. When did you become so cold? I'm not cold, I said. I'm just done bleeding for people who never held a bandage for me. We gave you a home, she insisted. We raised you. We loved you. You gave Paige a home. You raised Paige. You loved Paige. I just existed beside her. That's not fair, she whispered. Life isn't fair, I replied. You taught me that, remember? She stood wiping her eyes. I came hoping we could repair this, but you've already left us. I left when you pushed me. Out, she exhaled shakily. Then, I guess this really is goodbye. I guess it is. Walked away, shoulders trembling, and I watched, without feeling anything but exhaustion. Not anger, not guilt, just an emptiness that finally felt peaceful. Back inside, my boss approached. Everything all right? Yeah, I said. Everything's handled. If you need to go home, I'm fine. And I genuinely finally was. That night, my phone lit up with an unknown number. Paige. Zoe, it's me. I know you blocked me. Brandon left. I ruined everything. I'm sorry for all of it. I don't expect forgiveness. I just hope you find happiness. I stared at the message, then deleted it. Whatever she felt now wasn't my burden anymore. I opened my laptop and booked a ticket to Seattle. No hesitation. No second thoughts. It was time. The days flew by, resignation submitted boxes. Packed life folded up and sealed shut. My coworkers surprised. Me with a tiny farewell celebration, cake, cards, hugs, well, wishes. It felt surreal, like I was drifting above my own story, watching someone finally walk out of a cage only they could see. Seattle wasn't just a place. It was freedom, it was oxygen, it was mine. And for the first time in a long time, the future didn't scare me, it called to me. I folded the letter slowly, my fingers trembling, though I wasn't sure why. Maybe it was anger, maybe sadness, maybe just the shock of hearing my father's voice in words again. I read the line, "We're trying to take responsibility 3 more times." It was almost funny. For years, all I wanted was for them to see me, to acknowledge what they did. And now that they finally were, I felt nothing, no satisfaction, no relief, just quiet. I set the letter on the kitchen table and stared out the window. Seattle's sky was a steel gray, the kind that promised rain but never delivered. I used to hate days like this. Now I found them peaceful, honest. No pretending to be anything other than what they were. My phone buzzed on the counter. It was a reminder from my therapist. Session today at 4 p.m. right. I grabbed my jacket and headed out. Dr. Hayes studied me as I recounted the letter. Her expression was soft, thoughtful. "How did it make you feel?" I hesitated. "I don't know," she smiled a little. "Yes, you do. You just don't want to name it." I closed my eyes, breathing in slowly. It felt too late. She nodded like she'd been expecting that. Closure rarely arrives when we want it. And sometimes it doesn't feel like closure at all. "It doesn't change anything," I said. "It doesn't bring back what I needed when I was a kid. It doesn't make them the parents I needed them to be." "No," she agreed. "But it proves something." "What?" "That you didn't imagine it. That your pain was real. That your experience was valid." I swallowed. Something in my chest loosened just a little. "Validation isn't reconciliation," she added. "You don't owe them your life because they finally learned a lesson without you." I nodded. "I don't want to go back." "You don't have to." That evening, I sat on my balcony with a cup of tea watching the city lights bleed into the night. People rushed below, living their own stories, carrying their own scars. And for once, I didn't feel alone among them. I felt part of something bigger. I pulled my phone out and typed a message to my dad. I didn't send it. I didn't need to. Instead, I put the phone down and whispered into the wind like it could carry the words away for me. "I hope you really do change. But I'm not coming back." Then I exhaled. And for the first time in my life, I felt free, not because I walked away from my family, but because I finally walked toward myself. "Why didn't you ever speak up?" I asked him quietly. He exhaled, rubbing the back of his neck. "Honestly, I didn't think it was my place. I figured it was a family thing. But looking back, I should have said something. Maybe things would have unfolded differently." "Maybe," I replied softly. "Or maybe everything would have collapsed the same way no matter what." We sat there for another 30 minutes swapping life updates, like 2 people who had survived the same storm but washed ashore on different beaches. He told me about his new career, his apartment downtown, how he was learning to rebuild himself too. I told him about my practice, about Luna, my therapy, my quiet mornings that finally felt like peace instead of survival. Talking to someone who understood even a little felt like a breath I didn't know I'd been holding. When we finally stood to leave, he pulled me into a brief hug. "Take care of yourself, Zoe." "You too," I whispered. Walking home, the weight of everything hit me again, the foreclosure, the broken engagement, the implosion of the illusion I once called a family. I had wanted consequences. I had wanted the truth to explode, and it did. But it didn't feel like a victory lap. It felt like closing a chapter that had been bleeding for years. That night, Luna curled beside me as I sat on my couch, staring at nothing. This whole journey hadn't been about punishing them, not really. It had been about saving myself. I had stopped bleeding for people who never bandaged my wounds. I had stopped setting myself on fire to keep others warm, and in doing so, I had finally chosen me. I opened my email and began typing. "Dad, I received your letter. I'm glad you and Mom are trying to rebuild and that you're owning the choices that led here. I'm not ready to come back, and I don't know if I ever will be, but I want you to know I'm okay. I'm happy. I built a life here that feels safe and honest and mine. I hope one day that can mean something to you. Take care. Zoe." I read it, breathed, and sent it before fear could claw me back. I didn't know if he would answer. I didn't need him to. In the months that followed, their world shrank. The home they once bragged about was gone. Their routines reduced to survival. Paige, once the untouchable golden child, drifted into a lonely apartment states away working a job. She resented no fiancé, no pedestal, no spotlight left. Her fall from grace was quiet, and no one rushed to soften the landing. Not even them. Meanwhile, I kept moving forward. I poured myself into my life, my city, my work, my friendships, the warmth of a little cat who didn't ask me to earn love. Some days memories stung, not because I missed them, but because I once begged for crumbs from people who had empty hands all along. Most days, though, I just felt free. I didn't return to the past. I didn't reach back for what broke me. I didn't wait for apologies that came too late to matter. They lost their illusion of a perfect family. I found myself. The real victory wasn't in watching them fall, it was in watching myself rise, and that in the end was the revenge I never knew I needed.